Hello everybody. Today I want to show you a universal tree farm that can harvest all small tree types in 1.9. But first I want to take a look back because I got some requests what happened to my old farms that I made. And yeah, those are mostly broken due to some piston behavior changes. So in 1.9 the double piston retraction no longer works. If you depower those two pistons in the same game tick, but the one in the front is depowered later inside the game tick. Comparators depower after repeaters. In 1.8 this would have rejected both pistons, so yeah, in 1.9 this no longer works. And since 1.9 is released any day, I don't think they're gonna fix this bug anymore. Back in good old 1.8, this works. And yeah, this is incredibly useful for fast tree farms because you can use it to transport logs or to break leaves. Very simplistic wiring. Of course, you could also make this simple wiring, but the disadvantage of this system would be that it is slower. It looks fast, but it has a reset time of 15 game ticks compared to 7 game ticks here. So yeah, this is just so much slower that you can't really use it in really fast tree farms. Of course, you can make a fast system still with 0 ticks, for example, to break leaves. But the disadvantage is 0 ticks need a lot of space to create, and you always need to power the pistons with redstone dust directly, and sometimes you just can't use redstone dust everywhere, so you need some repeaters or comparators. Okay, let's see how this would affect one of my old farms. Here's, for example, the dual core oak tree farm. This also uses the double piston retraction. So this double piston extender breaks both those leaves. So the piston in the back is powered by a repeater, and the one in front with a comparator. And they're both depowered at the same time, so this would work. And there's just no way you could do that in 1.9 if you don't have the double piston retraction as fast as in 1.8. And other farms that would be broken with this would also be the dual core birch tree farm and fast jungle tree farm, and yeah, basically all my high-end tree farms I made. So back in 1.9, and let's take a look what happens to my universal tree farm that I made in 1.8. This was a simple universal tree farm, so it's easy to build. It doesn't have any complicated zero-tick technology. Still has quite decent speed, but it's just not as fast. It also has a single dispenser to keep it simple. Okay, let's slow the game down a bit. I'm using Cubitech's tick speed mode for the snapshots. And yeah, let's see what happens. So here you can see I use the double piston retraction in 1.8 here, so those pistons will remain behind in the farm. And also used it here with the side pistons, so this would also no longer work. Side pistons would have been easy to fix, but in order to deal with those, I have to change the whole timing. So I swallowed the bitter pill and spent a few hours to completely redesign the farm from scratch. And yeah, it's a real beauty now. It's even faster than the old one. It can harvest a full tree every 46 game ticks, and it doesn't matter if it's an acacia tree or a birch tree. It all runs the same program. Yeah, so the game is now 3 times slower than usual, and let's plant down a sapling so you can see how it works. And as you can see, it harvests the complete tree, and most of the leaves are broken. And yeah, works fine. And yeah, normally this should give enough saplings back, but there's a new problem in 1.9. For some reason, mulching thought would be a good idea to give items when they are squeezed a lot of momentum. So this would happen if a sapling would be pressed against another block and it just gets blasted, yeah, everywhere. So, get just ejected out of this piston, and it's ridiculous. And this, of course, causes the saplings to fly everywhere in the tree farm, so they land on the redstone below the tree farm and just everywhere. And this didn't happen in 1.8, and in 1.9 you have a lot of problems to get the saplings back now. Let's take a look what happened to the saplings in 1.8. And this is what happens to the saplings in 1.8. So they get a little bit of momentum, but mostly, yeah, it's not that much. And hoppers below could collect the saplings. So in 1.9, just with those hoppers at the bottom here, you only get about 20% of all the saplings back, and all the other 80% just land outside of this area. Whereas in 1.8, about 85 to 90% of the saplings landed in this 5x5 area, and you really had no troubles to get enough saplings back. I would say let this farm run in 1.9 a little bit, and then you can see where the saplings land. So I had this farm running for a few minutes, and here you can see where the saplings land. So there's a lot of them down below, and basically everywhere in the redstone. So saplings here, behind the pistons, everywhere in the wiring. Everywhere, just not on top of the hoppers where they should go. And yeah, this is incredibly annoying. This breaks basically every tree farm. There's one thing you could do is to put down a lot of hoppers and hopper minecarts. So yeah, that's what I did in this version. So there are now a lot of hoppers below, and also replaced some of the blocks for the wiring of hoppers, like this. And yeah, also placed down some hopper minecarts that got lost from transition from 1.8 to 1.9. So I would place some hopper minecarts on top of those hoppers. And yeah, just a lot of hoppers. So it's not that bad to have those hoppers. And with that many hoppers, I would get enough saplings back, or barely break even, with acacia trees, oak trees, spruce trees, and birch trees. But not with the jungle trees, because they only yield half as much saplings as the other trees, for no reason. And yeah, in order to get enough saplings back from the jungle trees, I guess you would literally have to build this whole farm out of hoppers and hopper minecarts. Yeah, that would be really annoying. But if you need a farm for just birch, oak, acacia, and spruce, this would work fine. So you barely break even. If you would have a little bit problems, still get enough saplings back, you could, for example, put some hoppers here and so on. So yeah, you get about 40% of the saplings back this way, and this is enough. I got some requests to make a cubemaker module for one of my tree farms, and that's what I did here. So if you like something like this, it's included in the world download. All I have to do here is basically add this part on the left, and this would make a nice cube out of all the logs. And yeah, you can farm all tree types: acacia, birch, oak, spruce, and jungle, but you don't get enough saplings back with the jungle. But chopping wood is annoying and time consuming, so yeah, why don't we let the wizard do the work for us? And there's also a problem now in 1.9 with the wizard damaging system that I used in all of my latest tree farms. It also no longer works. So let's slow the game down a little bit again. The idea was here to send the block in with 0 ticks and then reject the block again, so the block breaker doesn't break the block that damages him. And this way you would have a system that doesn't require any arrows or a cobblestone maker, something like that. And yeah, entities are now pulled along with blocks when the blocks inside the entity's position. As you can see, the wizard gets pulled out. He seems to get back into position and it doesn't really escape, but when he's in the other position he can fire a blue skull, and yeah, this defeats the purpose of the whole bedrock cage, where all the blue skulls that he also shoots when he's in the bedrock, but they explode inside the bedrock, and because it has such a high blast resistance, none of the other blocks would be affected. And yeah, this obviously no longer works. Really annoying. I tried to combat that problem with this system over here. So the idea was to send in the block from one side and then send it back from the other side, also for zero tick. That wouldn't affect the entity. But for some reason he still shoots blue skulls in this configuration. So yeah, you can see the block is pushed out again. And it seems fine, but after 30 seconds to 1 minute he will fire a blue skull and damage blocks outside. And I tried a lot of different timings and didn't get it to run, unfortunately. Another advantage of this system with the rejecting block was that the wizard only got suffocation damage once. If you would push in a cobblestone block, for example, that you could use in the end or in the overworld, then the wizard would get suffocation damage twice, and he needs more time to regenerate the health, or yeah, it would kill him over time. So with the block system it was possible to damage him every about 22 game ticks, and with a cobblestone system you can't only damage him every 44 game ticks. So in high-speed farms, this was a really good system. One disadvantage of the block system was if you would use the bedrock and the nether, that you would need to remove either bedrock above or below the cage, and yeah, this takes some effort, but thanks to the bedrock removal tricks found by Spire and Myren Eario, this was doable. Also would take some effort, and you would, in case of Spire's trick, you would need a dragon egg, but this was doable. I also showed another version a while ago where you could use naturally formed 3x3 bedrock formations that you could find sometimes in the lowest bedrock layer from the bedrock ceiling in the nether. So over there is the dispense system I will show later. So you don't even need to remove any bedrock if you want to use a wizard, for example, for 100% safe wizard cage. On the Cycroft server we have about 20 wizards trapped in bedrock for a few months now, and you never had problems with a single one. You could also use the bedrock from the end portal in the end, which is no longer that much of a viable option in 1.9 because you would likely want to respawn the dragon. Another option would be to use bedrock in the overworld. Coolman made a video about this recently, and we also used the bedrock on the Cycroft server for a treefarm, but we haven't shown that yet. Okay, I had another idea for a damaging system that you could use in the nether, where you can't use cobblestone because there's no water. It's using a pumpkin placer. I think azelefs showed this the first time in last summer. Dispensers can place pumpkins, I don't know, since 1.8 or something like that, on top of, for example, 2 snow blocks or an iron cross to make snow golems or iron golems. But it seems it's a little bit buggy. If you have a snow golem structure next to it, the dispenser would still place a block here, also you can't make a snow golem. So this could be in theory a system of source that you could get back, but it's a little bit of a problem because the pumpkins, they get blasted everywhere, and I'm quite sure the wizard would destroy one or two of those pumpkins over time, so I don't think you would get 100% back. But still, you can make a pumpkin farm in the nether. Also, it wouldn't be that efficient because you can't use hydrated farmland. But yeah, could be an alternative if you really don't want to use arrows that you use up over time. To have just a pumpkin farm in the nether and use that to damage the wizard. Okay, that was just an idea. One disadvantage, like with the cobble, is that the wizard also gets suffocation damage twice, and you can only use the system every about 44 game ticks, or you would kill the wizard over time. I tried to push in a piston in this position that would break the pumpkin again, but still the wizard would be affected, and yeah, he shot a blue skull and destroyed the structures around it, so you could only use it this way, I guess. Seems like we can't use blocks anymore to damage the wizard with a high frequency, so I guess we have to go back to dispensers and snowballs, but not so fast. Mojang also managed to screw that up for 1.9. Yeah, snowballs now fly through entities and you can't use that anymore to damage the wizard. It's getting ridiculous by now. There's also a bug report. I will also link it in the video description. This really shouldn't happen, but seems like we have to use arrows now. But arrows have the disadvantage that they deal a lot more damage than the snowballs. And again, you can't use a high frequency anymore to damage the wizard. So this would also slow down a lot of farms. Anyway, I also added a module for an arrow damaging system that you could add to the tree farm, and this has the advantage that you could use the naturally generated bedrock that you could find in the nether. I will link Panda 4994's list where you can find all of the possible formations in the nether. You have to look for best in the column, so this is when a 3x3 bedrock formation is formed at the lowest layer, and you also need always this bedrock above the wizard's head. Yeah, and this works with arrows, but as I said, the disadvantage is that they deal a lot of damage, and I had to slow the farm down a little bit, because for the acacia trees, for every single acacia tree I have to damage the wizard twice. But for the normal trees, damaging in once is enough. And there's now a switch for this farm. If you want to farm acacia, then the wizard gets damaged twice to break all the logs. And if you want to farm oak, birch, or spruce, or as I said, jungle, but you won't get enough saplings back, then you have to turn this off. And that is the extra system. So could remove all of those gold blocks if you could use the snowballs again, if Mojang fixes the bug. And yeah, this would be the input for the arrows. And there's also a safety measure. If this dropper doesn't have any arrows left, then it would also stop the farm. So you don't have to worry about that. And also added some chests here where the logs are collected, and you could input the bone meal here, which will be transported to this dispenser. So there are a lot of drawbacks now with tree farms. Double piston retraction no longer working, saplings flying everywhere, damaging systems are quite broken, but still it's building this farm that would work in 1.9 and it's not that much effort. The situation of the hopper is a little bit annoying, but it's still doable, and the farm is really easy to build. I think it's still 10 times better than chopping wood on your own. I wanted to make a tutorial even on this tree farm, but I'm a little bit annoyed by now, and I don't know if a lot of people would be interested in building a tree farm in 1.9, even for all the hopper situation and so on. But let me know if you really would be interested in a tutorial on this tree farm. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you today. regarding tree farms. Have a good day and goodbye.